listening to Apostates on the Fringe, the podcast where we talk about Christofash trying to take over this goddamn country. Forrest, if you're listening, that would be a Christian fascist.
He doesn't listen.
We're sponsored by Atheist Society of Knoxville, and we're your hosts. I'm Alistair.
I'm Dustin.
And I'm Sam.
Sam, what do you got this week?
I have a couple things this week. I have the Abita Pecan Ale. It's called the Go Nuts, but it's spelled with an E-A-U-X.
Okay, the Go.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. And you went full white girl again.
And the other one is a UFO Journey to Planet Pumpkin.
You went white girl again?
I mean, the seasonal shit's out. I'm ready to taste something different than the same.
I'm a little bitch. I'm not going to lie. I do
shows.
love me some pumpkin spice almonds that Planners puts out. They're fucking fantastic.
Is that what you have today?
No, but I'm not eating a food. It's actually, I'm talking about almonds. I don't have a food. I just
You're going to start critiquing snack food instead.
That's because that's all I have this week. Al, what are you drinking this week?
This is from the Dewclaw Brewing Company, and it's the Pastryarchy.
Have you had the pastry? That's such a beautiful name, the Pastryarchy.
It's a root
Is
beer.
It crushing the Pastryarchy, or is it just the Pastryarchy?
It's just the Pastryarchy.
They missed an opportunity there, I think.
But it's a root beer float Imperial Brown Ale.
What's the brewing company?
Dewclaw?
Have you had them before?
I have not. They're out of Baltimore, Maryland.
As promised, this is my second week, so the first full week rather.
Yeah.
Of no alcohol. So
how are you feeling?
You know what? It's not as bad as I thought. Like the first night, I as I mentioned last record, because I drank Tuesday, but I didn't Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. That Thursday, I was bitching about how tired I was from that Wednesday. I thought that with the frequency that I drank and the quantity that like. By day 2 or 3, I would be like super, like jonesing and shit and like just like detoxing. Fucking nothing. I'm not craving it. I'm not missing it. I have some CBD a lot. is what I'm is what I'm doing in lieu of. So I'm not bored because that was the thing. I would just get bored without that. And so I'm just like just hit a little bit of that.
CBD.
That CBD.
So glad that's legal here.
Play some video. I finally wrapped up Red Dead, and so I have new games to play now.
Oh, yeah. The story, you mean?
Yeah, I finally wrapped up the story again, so now I had some new games to play and go through. Hey, fuck it, why not? We're talking about some video games. Sam, you have an update
on the update on Activision.
Yeah, you have an update for us on Activision and Blizzard.
Activision-Blizzard has, in the weeks since we last covered the story, they have been continuing their crackdown on any attempt at unionization. They've hired companies to come into the company and try to squash any, the kind of, what are they called? Like spies, where they go into the company and try to be like, oh, hey, does anybody have any stories to tell? And then shut them down. Like, they're doing that kind of, like, stuff that should straight up be illegal. They're getting subpoenaed again for destroying evidence. They burned shredded documentation that was for their upcoming legal.
Well, I mean, you would. So here, I don't know if our listeners know because a lot of them don't know a whole lot of legal things. But during discovery, like they're required to preserve digital and paper documents. Like I was sued once. I was sued by an employee over an EEOC complaint, and I had a mandate, an order. I had to preserve anything on my PC at home that may have had any interactions with this individual, any digital files at work, any documents. Like you had to preserve all that, and so they're just blatantly violating that and shredding documents related to this particular case.
Yeah,
I'm sure that'll bode well for them.
Yeah, so they got busted on that. They're already. So how is the game front of things handling this? Well, this week
I heard some of this. I heard the one thing I heard was that they changed the name of one of their. I don't know if it's an intern or was one of their developers. They named a character after
one
her.
of the main developers that was involved in the harassment.
And there was that. I don't know which game it was.
Overwatch.
It was probably Overwatch.
Overwatch changed one of their names. They named a cowboy named McCree, and that was named after this guy. He's one of the there's multiple people. He's one of the people at the center of the actual abuse, and they had named the character after him. So they changed that name. That I can understand. But now they are going full hog on all of their other games, including WoW, including Call of Duty.
I heard the World of Warcraft changes.
Yeah, where they are removing references to any sexual joke. They're removing sexual jokes, like references to balls, anything that might be construed as sexist towards women. They're just, like, scrubbing their game. They, like, removed something in Call of Duty. I didn't even know Call of Duty had women. Like, but, like, you can't, like, zoom up their skirt anymore like you used to be or some shit like that. So I like how...
We're making progress!
I like how they're so fucking two-faced, trying to show that, oh, we're such a feminist company... But on the other side, they're literally destroying evidence of all the rapes that happened.
Have they announced a new... Because I know the president stepped down of Activision-Blizzard.
Jay Allen... Was it Jay Allen Brack that got it? I mean, that was just, scapegoat, lamb to the slaughter.
But have they announced a new one? Because I haven't really been keeping... They haven't really made... If they're on the news, they're on, like, nothing national that I've been following.
Yeah, no, they're just waiting for that actual trial to happen, and the only news is them destroying evidence for the trial. So we'll see when that gets there. But in the meantime, they're trying to show how woke their company is. Doth protest too much.
So, like,
That's
they're putting, I guess, band-aids on, like, things that, like, were those even
no
an
one
issue?
was even complaining about it. Yeah.
Okay.
This is just them being like,
we're doing things.
We are not a sexist company. We're the most woke of companies that would molest all of our employees.
Yeah, we'll just fuck our employees in the background. You can play our woke games now.
I mean, if you had played Overwatch, it was the most woke game. Like, it was very intentionally trying to be aimed for that demographic. And then they actually have to change their name because all the people involved were getting raped in the background. So that's what you got to watch out for, the ones that protest too much, like I say. They're trying, it's, a little Freudian thing even, where they're like, oh, we can't possibly be horrible. Look what we've done. We removed references to balls. We couldn't possibly do anything bad.
It's so funny that the front they put on to what their players see as them taking action. Meanwhile, in the background, they're literally just throwing everything into a fire and burning out all the evidence.
Yeah, well...
Probably still raping their interns while they're doing it.
I mean, they are actively union busting, and like I said, sending people in to try to smoke out anybody trying to talk out.
Have there been updates from all the players, all the people that walked out, or is that just a temporary?
I mean, they're union busting. Nothing came of it.
Okay.
Like, oh, it was for show. Like, nothing actually. No improvements have been made.
I gotcha.
Well, I don't buy Activision-Blizzard games anymore, so...
I don't... I have never.
Like, I have no idea what's going on.
I was the biggest gamer in the group. I was never played Activision-Blizzard. I think the last one, I think I did get the last Call of Duty, and then I promptly got bored of it because I grew tired of the.
I don't get those.
It's kind of the same. It's kind of the same game. Once
and they want you to buy a new one every year. When most multiplayer games, like, you expect it to be updated over the years, and that one's like, nope, drop it, buy a $60 new one next year.
It really is, and it's ultimately, aside from the campaign, it's ultimately the same game.
Yeah.
In terms of, I played Modern Warfare 2. I played that for a fucking long time.
They gave one for free on PlayStation, so I'm like, I'm going to try it out. I played one match and was called the N-word by a 5-year-old and deleted it immediately afterwards.
It is, you know what? It's not the most toxic of games, at least not nowadays. I mean, I find more toxicity in Rocket League than I do in any other game.
I play Dead by Daylight. People get pretty salty on there, but
yeah, no. So, like I said, I used to play World of Warcraft. I bought the expansion, which is installed on my PC, and I haven't launched it to this day. Like, I bought it during the pandemic. It's like, surely I'll need to do this because the pandemic went on. I just got bored of it.
Buy from slightly less rapey companies. That's what I'm saying to you, the consumer.
Buy from slightly less rapey companies.
I mean, I can't guarantee that this isn't going on in every, like, they're just, Activision's just the one that got caught, right?
Yeah. Well, they're also probably now in combination the largest, you would think.
Other than EA, those are the two largest.
Aren't they bigger than EA now, or is EA still?
I thought EA was still bigger.
EA kind of got their shit kicked in through all the
anti-capitalist shit, but they all do, like,
they're just as guilty with the same game release every year. When you talk about fucking the Madden series, like literally every sports game is the same.
And every single one of these game companies is guilty of the extremely unsocialist, communist, highly capitalist work condition of crunch and trying to act like crunch is normal. Like, oh, you went home to your children this weekend? Oh, you should have stayed. Oh, we're not going to give you overtime. It's just, corporate culture that you should stay without extra pay, just to show your loyalty. Like that, like every video game company, even some of the best ones, still say that happens. That's pretty normal.
Obviously, who did Cyberpunk?
That was it. CD Projekt Red.
CD Projekt Red
was another one of those companies that's CD Projekt Red is usually known as one of those better game companies that doesn't fuck over like the consumer. They give free DLC, free updates, and they were guilty of massive amounts of crunch as well, and released their last game.
And it was utter shit.
They released an unfinished game. It's
still unfinished. Like they
basically released a beta version of the game and charged full price.
Honestly, though, if I can catch it on sale, I will play it just to see all the fuckery that happens with
it's
the broken
not that bad.
physics.
I enjoyed it. I've played a good bit. I'm like halfway through it. It's not that bad of a game.
Are you on PC or console?
I'm on PC.
And so I heard it was most glitchy on PC, though.
No, I mean I played it when it came out, and it wasn't until the updates that kind of broke it.
No, I kind of wanted to play a broken version because random shit that I have no control that just kind of just fucks up is just sometimes funny in and of itself.
I mean, you're guaranteed to see some shit go wrong. It breaks immersion. You're like, I feel like I'm there, and then people walking through walls. Yeah.
Yeah. I was expecting some of the bugs I had played when I played RDR2 the first time when my horse randomly caught on fire and I died. I played on PC. Apparently they fixed they crunched and fixed all of that. So
yeah, there's a lot of crunch goes on Rockstar too. The games companies need to unionize. They're one of those organizations that are not unionized at all. Like at least the movie industry is heavily unionized and has been since the 30s. If they didn't unionize every aspect of the film industry like really early in its inception, there definitely wouldn't be now. But the video games, they take advantage of their complete lack of protection for their workers.
And I'm surprised Al hasn't chimed in here as much as Al plays video games on PC and console. I'm surprised that
Al could talk about how they should get unionized.
I can, yeah,
and the
I
union
can talk
busting.
about that.
This is a leftist issue.
I don't. Yeah, video games. You guys
power-
were actually
power
talking about
to
the
all the
goddamn
workers.
games, though, and I don't know.
Did you see the meme that I posted last night about video games are free labor when you play a video game, and that you should be, it was satire, but it was using the Communist Manifesto and Karl Marx theory to say that you as a player need to get some money because you're putting work into a game.
You know what?
And your work, the game would be nothing without you, the player, aka the worker, so you deserve some.
You know what? This is going to further bore Al, but at the height of the pandemic, I was literally working in a game. I was playing Farming Simulator 2019 or Farming Simulator 19, and literally your whole job is to work a fucking farm.
Yeah.
And fertilize and harvest, and I found that entertaining for some reason.
I mean, some games can feel like jobs. You're like, why am I playing this? I hate it.
You know, a lot of the grinding games do that. So before we bore Al, let's move on to another gaming-related thing. China.
Oh, okay, yeah.
China has banned or limited the game time to children under the age of, is it 16 or is it 18 over there?
I think it's 18. I'm not sure.
But it's limited to 3 hours per week, and that's on 1 hour on Friday.
Yeah.
Per week.
Nanny.
1 hour on Friday. So they're limited.
It's specific days?
It's specific days,
Wow.
Too. It's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
1 hour.
How do they monitor
weekend?
that?
It's China. I don't know.
It's China. They literally cannot log onto the internet.
How do they know if it's a kid
They
playing?
literally
or an adult?
cannot, because it's their account. Which is the other thing, the other piece of that news is adults are selling children their accounts so they can use their accounts. But yes, it's limited to their account. Their account literally will not be able to log on. So people are already trying to sell children adult accounts to get around this.
So I guess the goal of that was to reduce the amount of game time so they're in their studies, or do you know the full? Because I saw the headline, I was like, "That's fucking." I mean, China does what China.
China is having a moment now what is being deemed the cultural crackdown, and this is one of the parts of their cultural crackdown. China has, I don't know, they want your money. They are like. I always get pissed off when people say "fuck communist China" because China is not an example of actual communism. It's communism for the poor. They tell the poor that it's communism, but the people in the government are very rich. I will say that their corporations do get fucking, like, they will execute their businessmen, so they are not as much influence as straight capitalism, but they are not really communist. And I've already seen people saying, "Oh, that's what happens when you get communism. Then you won't be able to play your video games." But
I mean, they look for any reason to be like, no, "That's communism for you," like stupid shit.
Any example they get of that?
Well, I mean, it could be like straight up capitalism, and they're like, "Well, that's what communism gets you."
Well, we deal on the left with tankies, and tankies are like, "Yes, that is communism, and it's fantastic. They are doing great."
Yeah, I know.
So
quite a
there's
few
the
of
others.
those fucking tankies.
Well, they're no bad. They are fascists. Like they're fucking plants. Fuck them too.
Were you saying that China did something else aside from the 3-hour?
So that was just a part of their cultural crackdown. So I was trying to say that China likes your money, and they like having our blockbusters are made for them. A lot of our American media, video games included, are made because there's so many fucking people in China.
A lot. And it's a huge gaming industry, too. Media consumption, actually. Media consumption in general is massive in China.
So I've harked on that a lot for Disney and Marvel, because we make our movies to cater to them, especially the big Marvel movie that came out this weekend was a big catering to China. The themes in that movie were about traditionalism and listening to your elders.
Was it Shang-Chi?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they influence the way that we make movies, because it's a huge portion of the returns on the money. So China likes that, but they also, even with that, they're wary of Western influence. So I think that's another big part, is they want to cut off this influence. China is very anti-gay. And one of the other things that came out is depictions of sissy men in media is now completely illegal. So any effeminate men,
I did see that, yeah.
Men that are, any LGBT man, cross-dressing, any straight up effeminate men. Like, even if it's a straight guy and they just act effeminate, that is illegal in China now. So like I said, that's even more scary because of how much we cater to them. So you'll never see it's why you never see a gay character in any Star Wars, Marvel movie, Disney movie, is because they have to cater it to China, so they put it in small little piecemeal parts that they can literally edit out when they send over there, so it can't be a part of the story. So now, after this bill has passed in China, I guess it's not bills that are passed, they just say it and it happens.
Right, yes.
Because they're fucking fascist.
This is law now.
So yeah, they banned effeminate men. And they basically have a ban in general with their social karma system. If you don't know how that works, that's one of the scariest pieces of shit ever in the whole fucking world. You don't know how their social karma system works? Like, you literally cannot get on a bus. Like, Al has been banned from Facebook so many times, you literally would not be able to use public transit. You would literally be turned away from restaurants. Like this is what would happen if you were in China. Have
you seen that Black Mirror episode where they rank you based on...
That is what China does, yeah.
Have you seen that episode?
Yeah. They have a social karma system where basically if you say anti-government things or things that are not in the party lines of the CCP, then you literally lose access to things. And also, people are pushed to shun you. Because they, even from being your friend, because they track your phone, they track your shit... They even being around you will cause other people to lose their social karma. Like, seriously. like you leftists that are tankies. Like, seriously. Like, that's a red flag. Like, this is the shit that goes on in China. Right. That's fucking scary. And if you want to get even fucking scarier, the data companies that collect that data are trying to sell that to other fascist countries because they are doing so well at keeping their populace under control that they then are like, they literally go to I was reading this thing of how that company that made that social karma system then went to other fascist countries trying to sell their data systems because it's so effective at controlling the populace.
Getting them in line, obviously.
Yeah. And then there was one other ban, which
hold on.
I'm actually kind of jealous of.
This one I'm not so much against.
Yeah. They have banned singing competitions and those like You Got Talent shows.
I'm not so mad at that one. I mean, I get it. I get that they shouldn't be banning the art and things like that.
They're banning.
But I'm fucking tired of those shows.
I think
man.
their reasoning behind that was it's a type of idolatry, or that people are worshiping these people. They should not be worshiping people like that kind of thing. Not focusing on their good, like going and trying not to kill themselves in their Apple manufacturing plants. I don't know. That's what they want them to do.
I loathe those shows though, so I'm not like...
Yeah, I'm not crying over that one. The other...
Because there's so many here, especially in the U.S. There's been like ever since, like, I guess American Idol was probably one among the first that sparked this huge genre of these, reality competition type shows that, now you have just a plethora of them, and it's just getting fucking old.
Yeah, and then you can get canceled for saying that Taiwan is a country. Taiwan is a country, by the way.
Oh, we're canceled.
Taiwan's a country.
Congratulations, Sam. This episode cannot be played in China now.
It literally can't. It literally can't. Tiananmen Square definitely happened. It definitely happened.
And we're banned on YouTube. I edit out Sam just so we don't have any China listeners, so it's fine.
Oh, sorry, China listeners. We're going to lower their social credit score for listening to us.
Right. And the neighbor who might have listened, who heard you listening to
heard them listening through the wall. They lowered their social score too. Oh, can't get a bus to work today. Damn.
Al, before we move on to our next topic, you wanted to run down some of the updates for Knox County School and situations. I've heard that a couple schools in the surrounding Knox have actually already canceled classes.
Well, no. They moved to online learning. Two high schools have.
Did you hear about that fucking kid who was immunocompromised and they denied him 3 times to do online learning until he fucking caught COVID?
I did not hear about that one.
Yeah, that's fucking real. They tried... They were rejected 3 times. An immunocompromised student, they requested to have online learning, rejected 3 times until there's a second grader until he caught COVID.
Well, I know the 2 schools that went virtual, they had to get vouchers from the state in order to be able to, because Bill Lee has put in like a ban on schools going virtual. And so, but these schools, like, they had to close. They didn't have the teachers. The students weren't there. Like, we're hearing stories about classrooms that are being left unsupervised. Like, the kids are just in the room because there's such a shortage on teachers and substitutes right now. And I looked down at my phone for a minute, and one of our local substitutes received a letter. He's been very, very vocal in these parent groups regarding the situation in the school and what he's seeing and stuff. So Knox County terminated him today. Well, we had 245 sub positions at the school today that were unfilled, and they fired a substitute that was willing to go in.
Because he was talking about how horrible the COVID situation is.
Yeah, because he's telling the truth about what's happening in our schools. There was no protest. I think there was a protest. I don't know how it turned out. I know I watched the school board meeting last night, and there were only 4 speakers. 3 of them were anti-mask. 1 was masked. The last one, though, was Nurse Debbie.
You have a Nurse Debbie update.
Yeah, what's her address?
Nurse Debbie deleted her Facebook page completely after I posted her picture online, and then we were discussing her business in a group.
Is this the covering her ears?
Yeah.
La, 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 la. Okay.
Yeah, it was that picture. So she deleted her Facebook page. And then last night she had somebody else read a written statement to the school board where she was talking about all the bullying she has endured. And her picture was posted online, and people were calling and emailing and leaving 1-star reviews on her business.
Womp womp.
Wait, what's her business? I need to leave a 1-star review.
It's like Nurse Debbie's.
It's actually called Nurse Debbie's.
Yeah, it's Nurse Debbie's practice or some stupid shit like that.
And if you'd like to leave a review, go to
Nurse Debbie's Health and Wellness.
Yeah, I'm waiting on
Emory
her.
Road and Powell.
That's
Definitely don't go there and leave it. No, she's got a 4.6 review. Like, no one's leaving 1-star reviews for her there. That's a lie.
Yeah.
Are you on Google right now? Or?
Oh, she lied a lot. She said,
I am, but
me and Angel hissed at her when she was waiting to speak.
like that?
Hissed and growled, which we clearly, obviously. When have you ever heard me hiss or growl?
I know, but I kind of want to now. I just want to hear you hiss and growl at some random like anti-vax COVID
I'll
denier
do
as they
things
walk
like
by
say
you.
gross and move away from them, but I'm not one to hiss and growl. And she said in her letter that we did that. I could tell most of it she was talking about me and accusing me of doing stuff. Which, I mean, some of it I totally did post her picture online. There's going to be more from her posted online as soon as her Facebook page
continue
comes back.
to bully her. Bullying works.
She said she just wants to live her life in peace.
Oh, okay. Well,
This
anyways,
bitch
so
is
she
using-
works off Powell and Emory Road. Just go there and
give her a piece of your
Debbie,
mind.
Debbie, it's DEBI
Nurse
at
Debbie.
nursedebbie.com. That's her email address. You have one shot to email her. She will respond back with, do not ever email this practice again or I will go after you for harassment.
Did you get a response? Did you actually email?
Oh yeah, I emailed.
Okay.
That's I used my real email address and everything.
Did you print it and frame it in your wall?
I knew. All I said was, "You have the stankiest of stanky cooch." Yeah, that was her response back. Is do not ever message this practice again, or I will go after you for harassment. And like, okay, I wasn't planning on responding anyway.
Apostates on their friends does not recommend you go to throwaway email and create multiple emails to do this. We just do not recommend that. But
yeah, we don't recommend harassment. We're going on record here. Any type of satirical harassment that you do satirically on the off time.
Right. If you seriously go to throwaway email and generate multiple emails to email Nurse Debbie, we don't recommend you do that because it's untraceable. Just don't do that.
DEBI, Debbie at nursedebbie, DEBI.
Yeah, don't make her life a living hell. That would be satirically horrible.
Allegedly. So you were talking about some of the, we're losing teachers, but we also lost a bus driver of 15 years.
We lost a bus driver and 2 teachers this week in the school system to COVID.
And this is still early on. This is what, the 3rd, 4th week of school now?
We're in the 5th, I believe. But the school board meeting last night, not a damn word was said about the teachers who have died this year. This week, nothing. Nothing thanking them for their services. Now, like, there's other things that have happened that they make sure to take a time, a moment to talk about. In fact, no, I believe they took a moment to discuss the, he was a Knox County graduate who was killed over in, Afghanistan. They took time out of the meeting to address him.
At a school board?
At the school board meeting, because he's a former student of Knox County.
Right, okay.
So they took time to discuss him, but nothing about our educators who we've lost. Yeah. Nothing at all.
That's because they, by and large, red states, such as Tennessee, blow their military off to a degree that I hadn't seen. I mean, I lived in like major cities. I lived in red states before. I lived in Texas. I lived in Indiana, but I lived in predominantly major cities in those areas. And although San Antonio doesn't really count because it's a big Air Force area, but like to the degree that the people suck off their military here is just outrageous.
we literally have the worst people in the fucking world here. Like,
we really need to start blowing our educators. Any of you want to hit me up?
They're
I'm
not
Alistair on
dying
Facebook.
for global oil interests,
So I guess this is a good time to talk about and segue into what Biden has announced this week.
Biden coming through.
Papa Biden coming in strong, where Biden has announced that new vaccine mandates affect will be affecting 100 million Americans. Basically, it will mandate that all employers with more than 100 workers require employees to be vaccinated or test for COVID-19 weekly.
You know what I'm doing when we get done with this?
Go ahead.
I'm going to go home and pop some popcorn and look at the local news comments.
You know what? I almost want to stop the record right now and can we just scroll through and just the rest of the record is just going through these comments because it's going to be fucking glorious. I'm happy to report you guys. So the person I've been working on is getting the vaccine.
Good.
They were supposed to yesterday, but there was an issue. But they're scheduling their vaccine. I'm trying to convince them away from. They want Pfizer. I'm just trying to push Moderna just because.
Just be happy to get it in.
They are, but the science behind Moderna is the higher efficacy. But I don't care either anyone you get. But it doesn't matter now. They're an employer. With where I work, and we have well over 100 employees.
Are they looking at it per branch?
Yeah,
or
is it per location?
No, because so under FMLA, FMLA requires that you have to have over, I think, 75 employees in a 50-mile radius or something like that. That doesn't apply for me, but because of where our home office is located and the sheer number of employees, we have to go by that. So I'm thinking it's by the same kind of guidelines where the home office generates and they have well over those employees, they will be required under that kind of policy to be tested, either tested weekly or vaccinated. And I will tell you, I don't know which way the company is going to go because requiring testing weekly, if you don't have insurance, you have to either pay money yourself, which is $90 or $100 for a rapid test, which is about 85% of accurate, or you go to get the mail sent-off test, which takes 2 or 3 days to get back, and you have to go to the Knox County Health Department to do that. I don't know what's going to happen, not only with our company, but other companies here in Tennessee, because the delay to get those tests back for the free test takes a while. I don't know if companies are going to want to shell out the money every week to pay out for rapid tests for their employees. No. So they may just ultimately end up doing what like the airlines are doing and other hospitals are doing. They're just straight up requiring vaccines.
That's a smart thing to do.
We'll see. This is
they're
really
going to
fresh.
throw temper tantrums. I can't fucking wait.
I know. As soon as I have to edit tonight, so I don't get to go through and immediately jump into the comment section that you guys get to do. But that is on my agenda because this will be delicious.
What's the one you like to go to?
WBIR has the highest following in terms of the people that like. So it's going to have the highest number of interactions. WVOT, they tend to. I like them because they'll pick stories that WBIR won't. Like when West Virginia, the statue that got taken down of Robert E. Lee and got cut up, even like other news organizations may not cover that. They will, and then people get super salty about that because preserve our history and shit like that. So I tend to pick and choose just because I want to see this fucking. I live off the tears when they get so salty over.
I live off the HermanCainAward shit.
Oh, that is so good.
It's seriously, I go to subreddit before this. I was going to subreddit maybe like once a month. Like if you sent me something, I'd go over there, and then sometimes I'd read a little bit. But I wasn't someone who frequented Reddit.
A secret Reddit or a certain subreddit? Are you talking about
any Reddit in general?
Okay.
I just didn't go there so very often. Every single night, it has become part of my self-care routine.
It really is. It's therapeutic. It's fucking therapeutic.
The way they present it is pretty good because they usually give you a whole story on someone's life.
Yes.
Like, this virus is fake. I'm not getting that vaccine. Oh no, I got the virus. Please pray for blah, blah, blah. They have died.
The best thing, I don't know what app you're using if it shows the flares, but they flare them whether they're nominated or whether they're awarded. And that's so good to know whether... like
sometimes they come back.
So nominated means... sometimes they'll update. They'll say nomination has been awarded. So nominations mean that like they're in the hospital.
The awards are post-humorous.
Nomination is they're in the hospital. Awards, they die. And then there's a redemption award for those who... on their deathbed, begged people to get the vaccine.
It is never short of content.
That's what amazes me. Every fucking night I go there, I don't get through the new posts, and I sit there and I'll look at them for like an hour or so, and there's more to go through. And it's just like you can't see them all. There's so fucking many.
We talked about it. I mentioned it. We talked about it last week. It is a subreddit called the HermanCainAward, and seriously, to listeners who just thrive off the schadenfreude of the people who vehemently are anti-vax, anti-mask, these are also people that are hard right too. You know, the anti-Biden stole the election. Like they'll find anything and they'll list them in chronological order until they either get nominated, where they're in the hospital, or they get posthumously awarded. And it's so fucking delicious. I mean, it's also sad to an extent.
I don't think
think it's sad. It's not sad because these people are putting out shit. I read a opinion piece today that was absolutely fucking excellent. It was talking about how, I think it was Colbert maybe, referred to the anti-COVID, like the COVID deniers, as a death cult. And, they were talking about how at Jonestown, those people, like, laid down and just died. Like they knew they were dying. They were doing it so that they could, transfer on to the next place, and they were getting picked up after the what was it? The Hellberry comet?
You're thinking of two different things.
Was it not?
Yeah, you're thinking of two different things. The comet is different than Jonestown. Okay,
well, whatever it is, like it was suicide. They knew they
There's
were
been multiple
dying.
cults that do this shit.
But these people. Those are the Nike, but the Nike people had
that's Hail Bob.
Huh?
The Nike people are Hail Bobs.
Okay, so but
they killed themselves to go on the comet. Jonestown was the cult in like the South America.
But both of those, those are good examples of death cults. But they knew they were dying for the the cause. These people
we talked about Heaven's Gate earlier, the Hell Box.
That's Heaven's Gate.
Did you know their website is still up and it's glorious?
Right.
And
it looks like a 90s website.
It looks like someone's fucking MySpace.
But these people with COVID, like when they get COVID, they're like praying to live. They do not want to die. When they're faced with the situation of, I'm going to die, they're fighting it. They want to live. So it's not a suicide cult. The thing is that, like, while they want to live, they don't give a shit if other people die. This is a homicidal cult. Like, they really, honestly do not give a shit about anybody else dying as long as they live.
I wanted to clarify, I'm not sad that these people who make these comments and are pushing this misinformation are dying. It's sad that they get roped into that they allow themselves.
I think Al's right. I think that, like Al just said, they don't care about other people. I think most of the people that are anti-vaxxers are shitty people anyways, and they're narcissists, and that's why they don't care about if they pass the virus on to other people.
You think about it. I mean, so they've been told over and over again, the masks aren't there to protect you, it's to protect other people.
Yeah, and they don't care.
And their response to that is pretty much, survival of the fittest. If they can't hold up to this virus, then they don't deserve to live.
I gotta say, I don't know if that's true. It's because I don't see that. What I see is, you're wearing your mask, so it protects you, right? They don't know that it protects
that's what I'm saying. In response to us explaining to them, because every one of them, it's been explained to them over and over and over again by people.
Well,
I've
had to explain that to friends that wear the mask.
Yes,
and I'm like, that's for other people, right? Not
it's for
you.
other people, and they will come back that they do not care to protect other people. That's their response, is they don't care.
Maybe some, but the majority that I see is they may have had that explained to them. They choose to ignore it or disregard it because they'll say, well, you're vaccinated or you're wearing a mask, so you're protected, right? Why do you care what I'm doing? That's what I see.
And that just leads me back to eat, shit, die.
They understand. They've been explained. It's been explained to everybody. The masks are there to protect other people.
We all have access to the same amount of
ignorance.
We all have access to the same amount of information.
They're rejecting that information because it doesn't fit what they want to believe. They do not care, though, that they may kill other people. Since the beginning of this, my very first concern, the scariest thing to me about this was not so much that it could kill me. I knew my kid probably had a very likely chance of surviving it. Like, they're not in that demographic that it would be likely to kill them. What scared me the most was that I could be asymptomatic and pass it on to somebody with health conditions and kill them. That ate me up. That's why I quit my fucking job, because I was going out to protest, and I kept coming back to work with one of my coworkers living with her elderly parents who, like, had health issues. I was like, what if I don't wash my hands good enough sometime, and I touch something of hers, and she gets COVID, and she takes it to her parents, and her parents die? Like, that's something I couldn't live with if I knew, like, it came from me in the long run.
Well, and that's saying something too.
Terrifies me.
That's saying something too because this is back in 2020, and back in 2020 we didn't have the Delta variant. We had the original strain, and the original strain, by and large, did not affect our age group,
right,
whatsoever. Our concern at that time was passing on to the older generation because a vaccine wasn't available at that time. Now, though, the Delta variant is hitting fucking everyone. Mm-hmm. Children, our age, people that are healthy and 37 are dying.
It's already starting to blow up. I just took a look.
It's already starting. WBIR.
No, I didn't go to WBIR, but the main, period, it's blowing up. They are now saying do not comply, and there's a big movement to refuse to
Is this the vaccine mandate thing?
The vaccine mandate.
WBIR has 470 comments already.
Yeah,
the first
they
one
are
I
already
saw
blowing
was,
up.
nope, not happening. It's a personal medical decision.
That's what
I
they
see a
always
lot of
rest on.
bankruptcies in the near future. People will be leaving their jobs right and left.
Good?
Yeah,
maybe learn that America doesn't take care of their poor, you piece of shit. Go eat shit, die.
Did you guys see that American Airlines just stopped giving zero fucks too? So all the employers who were trying to raise religious exemptions for the maximum, they're suspended without pay. So, they don't give a fuck either. They're like, if you're not vaccinated and you try to say that you're trying to claim a religious exemption, fine. You're suspended with no pay. They're not fucking around. Delta's not fucking around. We talked before. They're charging $200.
But where will the
month.
idiots work?
Look, it's already here. Communism and socialism at its finest.
Oh, you guys, I'm so jealous. You guys get to go home after we recorded. We have some beers on the deck, and then you go through all the comments, all the editing. It's fine.
We'll read
Papa
them out on the
Biden,
deck
thank you
together.
so much.
You said you did something else, right? So aside from this...
Well, before we go on to that story, while we were on the Herman Cain Awards, the Darwin Awards are awarded to not only... The Darwin Awards are awarded to people that in their bloodline. People that either kill themselves or they are unable to reproduce. And the other story is...
yeah, the ivermectin thing.
Yeah. It turns out that the fucking horse dewormer causes infertility in a large percentage,
85%.
85%.
Now, Al, I wanted to correct your post a little bit, actually. So one of someone who had studied this had posted on Reddit, and that doesn't so much lower your sperm count, and so much as it reduces mobility.
I saw that.
It reduces the mobility. So it's like it gets the sperm so fucking high they just want to lounge on the couch and not swim anywhere. So that's basically what the horse dewormer does.
Thank you for the visual image, Dustin.
Because they shoots up in there and they're just like, fuck it, I'm not doing anything. Who wants to fucking swim today anyways? And so think about all these people who rush to the fucking co-op to get their fucking horse pace. And you know what? I'm glad these people may not be able to reproduce anymore because fuck that. Fuck their genes anyways.
I mean...
Isn't that the most deliciously ironic thing ever, though? They rushed... They did their own research. They went to the fucking co-op and stole this shit because they were too embarrassed to buy it.
Maybe they should have waited until it was FDA approved.
It's my favorite thing that, I do my own research crowd has fucked themselves over into fertility while the whole time they're clamoring against the vaccine because it causes infertility in women. It's the most delicious thing as this story.
Yeah, that's so not only are they killing themselves, but now they're making themselves infertile. So that is fantastic news.
But yeah, it's probably one of my favorite things. This week has just been glorious in terms of the comments and the things that came out regarding that. So that's just fantastic.
They're mostly whining about the healthcare workers that will be required because most hospitals have over 100 employees. That'll mean
Haven't they already been requiring vaccines?
Some have and some haven't.
Wait, I haven't thought about that. So a lot of hospitals around the United States have, and they've been firing people, but I haven't heard dick about what Knoxville's been doing in their hospitals here.
I haven't heard of any vaccine mandates in Knoxville.
Freedom over tyranny. Do not comply. Do not comply. Don't get the vaccine. Stand up. Leave your job. Be poor. Eat shit. Die.
I told you we could literally fill this episode by reading the comments section when this fucking thing dropped, because I mean a lot of employers, I mean 100 million is a large number. That's a third of the United States is covered under this mandate. So that's not including the federal workers and things like that. They're already under that requirement. So what you got?
People will walk out of the medical fields and other jobs, causing chaos, so the government can step in and do what they want when they want. Welcome to communism. It's from Judy Shelton.
Oh, well, that's amusing. Thank you, Papa Biden. He is my man. I knew I voted for him for a reason, and we haven't even covered the best Papa Biden story, because Big Daddy Biden is coming into the rescue to women in Texas.
Yeah, so let's move on to Texas. Let's continue on shitting on Texas 2.0. So before you get to your story, Greg fucking Abbott, and I shared this story to Al because I doubt you read it. Because you never fucking read these articles that I share. You find your own.
I read my own articles.
Sometimes I said you read your own. You don't read the ones I share. So fucking Greg Abbott responds to the criticism of Senate Bill 8, which we talked about last week, which effectively bans abortions after the and I'm going to air quote this, cardiac activity is found, which is around 6 weeks. He defended that the part of that bill is there was no exception to rape or incest. And his response into defense of that bill is, well, we'll just eliminate the rapists because that's easy to do. No, he literally said that. We'll just eliminate the rapists. I don't know if you've heard this, but it's wow. It's thanks I'm cured, which is basically like you can't just do that.
Right.
Like if you have this ability, why are you waiting till now?
I think rape culture is pretty prevalent in Texas. I mean,
yeah.
Abortion bills are a product of rape culture. Period. Anyways.
I just don't understand like how. I'm actually happy he's fucking up over there so hard because it may mess with the midterms in Texas over there. I see you eye roll, but we'll see.
How many people in Texas have to die before it turns blue?
There was only a 5% in the state, a 5-point swing in the last election. So.
And they're all about to lose their jobs, too.
They
so
are.
That's good news. Imagine losing your job, losing your health insurance, getting COVID, and then going to the hospital.
And then you can't get a bed because they're all full.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe all the people that are mad about not being able to work because of the mandates should all like go to a small enclosed room together. Maybe they need to do that, like just the smallest, most enclosed space they possibly can.
These people are too selfish, though. They're not going to make themselves bankrupt.
They're going to quit their jobs.
Their wallets will modify their decisions more so than a lot of other things.
Half of these nurses saying that they got fired. Some of them, I think some of them probably did.
There's a lot of
but I think
nurses.
the vast majority that are like being all dramatic, they're getting the vaccine, they're keeping their job.
There are a lot of really fucking stupid nurses out there. I think that is like
Nurse Debbie, we're talking about you.
So like to be a nurse, they teach you.
You have to.
People like are like, oh, she's a nurse. I respect her medical opinion, but the nurses, especially in Tennessee, are dumb as shit. They are taught they are taught memorization of body parts, and they are taught what drugs do and how to administer them, but they are not taught the germ theory of fucking medicine.
Don't they at least have to take some microbiology classes and science classes though? Like I don't understand how
bare
they can be
minimum. They are taught like a machine. They are not taught to think. They are taught to pull information.
Yeah.
They are taught, oh, this bone is connected to that bone. That's basically nursing school. They don't teach you theory. They don't teach you how to think. They don't teach you how things work. They teach you how to read stuff off and tell a doctor who knows what the fuck he's talking about. So there are a lot of really stupid nurses that have not gotten the vaccine. I was talking to one by the fucking pool earlier this week. Actually, not me. One of my fucking friends that is our sound engineer sometimes. But she was saying that she only got the first dose of the vaccine because the doctors at UT Hospital kept telling her to get vaccinated, and she was so tired of the doctors where she fucking works trying to tell her while she works in the COVID ward to get the fucking vaccine. Nurses are dumb as shit.
Well,
Yeah.
nice little tangent there, but back to Texas, Sam. So we talked about Texas last week and their stupid, horrendous fucking bill. A lot of companies in other places are stepping up to fight this shit. Lyft and Uber have committed to offering legal defense for Uber or Lyft drivers who are implicated in any of these lawsuits. That's good. But Papa Biden and his Justice Department, Merrick Garland, have announced that they are suing the state of Texas.
Good.
They announced that today.
Man, conservatives are having a bad day today because of Biden.
Papa Biden.
Best president ever.
Well, because we
cannot fucking deny it.
Argue. I can't.
Today is why we voted for him. It is. This is why we voted for Biden. He's actually fucking doing something about both of these issues.
You know what? I wish I could have bitched last week regarding the Texas decision about the 2016 election. I know there's a lot of people who didn't vote for Hillary and that for various reasons, but I kind of want to shit on some folks, and I may even get some flack from you. When I voted in that election, the 2016 election, I wasn't voting for Hillary.
Yeah.
I was voting for a Supreme Court nomination.
That's true, too.
I didn't realize it was going to be 3.
That's
Trump
true,
would
too.
fill.
Everyone who did not vote...
I voted for Hillary.
Everyone who didn't vote for
Everyone
Hillary
who
is complicit
can I just go on a
Yeah.
rant here real quick?
Yeah.
Because fuck everyone who voted third party. Fuck everyone. And you know what? I'm looking over here at our sound engineer who lives in a comfortable oasis of California, the comfortable liberal oasis of California at the time, who could afford to vote third party. I'm not talking about you folks. I'm talking about everyone else in the purple districts who didn't want to vote Hillary or voted third party because of butter emails or whatever the case may be. But we lost 3 fucking Supreme Court nominations. Mm-hmm. The one that was stolen from us from Merrick Garland when Scalia died in 2016. When now Kennedy would have been replaced by a Republican anyways, unless Hillary won. He wouldn't have retired probably. But when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died in 2020, like
it was so close to the fucking election. Even though they blocked fucking Obama.
They blocked Merrick Garland's election months
You
away.
have to fight fire with fire, weak-ass Democrats.
So I was so infuriated. I remember that night. I was so furious that night. I literally went to my fridge and ripped down like any person that I knew on my fridge from like Christmas cards where the fuck who I knew voted Republican, because when I knew that RBG had died, that they would swiftly before the election replace her with some hard right blowhard, and they did with Amy Coney Barrett. And that the Texas decision, the Supreme Court's decision not to intervene in a 5-4 decision was a direct result of voters complacent voters in 2016 not voting for the future of the country because of whatever values. I'm kind of pissed about that because
that's the legacy of Trump.
The Supreme Court are fucking lifetime appointments. That's a lot of times when I vote, it's not just for the next 4 years. I'm voting for, if I know a Supreme Court seat's up, I know Stephen Breyer is is the oldest of the liberal wing of the Supreme Court. If he doesn't retire, I'm going to make sure that I vote whoever is going to replace him with someone liberal next year or in 2024. But when that happened, I fucking knew that this would happen, something like this. I didn't know it would be this soon, but I knew that when RBG died that night, that this shit would happen.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of pissed about the people who sat out, who didn't vote, because this is this is just the beginning. We are
going to have to literally fight the Supreme Court. We cannot accept them as the law of the land anymore. They are a fascist force for the radical right.
They're
of the
no
country.
longer enforcing the law; they're enforcing political ideals.
They are a wing of the right-wing fascist arm of the country, which are on the ropes. They don't feel very good right now. The right always feels like they're losing their ground, so they lash out even harder. That's part of why Texas has made this move. They're going to feel that definitely after today.
Yeah, so Merrick Garland, they filed
themselves.
suit. I'll monitor that. I don't know what's going to happen with that. The lawsuit just came out today, so I don't have a whole lot of details on that. It was literally announced hours ago. But good on them. Good on Merrick Garland. I guess had some pressure from the progressives to step up and fucking do something since the Supreme Court didn't. And, good on them. Let's see what happens with that, because the fucking that bill is the most horrendous thing I've fucking seen, because it allows, I know we talked about it last week, literally anyone can sue.
Yeah.
And it's already had its effects. They've already, abortion clinics have already shut their doors because they know that 85% of their abortions or their services are after the 6-week mark. And this was after 2013, where they've passed sweeping bills. Over half of the clinics in Texas were already shut down because of that. Right. So it's already being reduced. Like these people, the poor in general, are going to be forced to have the children that they can't care for, nor will Texas help assist care for them, because they're only pro-life, air quote, until the child is born. After that, they don't give a fuck.
I mean, it's part of that, keeping the lower class unable to raise outside of it. They want to keep them poor. That's the whole point of it.
So while we're talking about abortions, I want to plug the podcast that came out today, or it came out this week, by It Could Happen Here, Robert Evans. The title of it is Enabling Self-Managed Abortions in Your Community. Anybody who has a uterus needs to listen to this podcast. It explains like the safe medications that have been taken all over the world for abortions. They should be more readily available in the United States, but of course they've made it a little bit more difficult, but they are obtainable. Fairly, it's not as hard as people would think. There are ways they could do, and this podcast explains how to go about getting those medications, organizations that you can reach out to get those medications that will safely abort a fetus.
Unwanted pregnancies.
Yeah.
There was also an opinion piece, and I'll see if I can find it and link it in the show notes, that even NBC, like the next day, NBC's like, how to obtain a legal abortion with the same medication that they espoused on that podcast. I do want to issue kind of a slight correction to last week, and it's not so much a correction because Sam did make a very good point in that, so much that Texas's end goal is basically a war on women, but it doesn't just affect women. It affects the non-binary and transgender individuals. Anybody with a uterus. Anybody with a uterus. We weren't as inclusive in our rant last week because we know basically Texas's ultimate goal is women in general, but it does affect.
I mean, they have a war on the LGBT That's another front of theirs completely.
No, yeah.
Even with this, the horrific nature of forcing that population to have unwanted pregnancies. People who have already taken steps for birth control fails. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is just it's horrendous, and at 6 weeks, that's just not enough time.
And they use religion to justify this shit, and we are not a
but no, I don't know how they can. I don't know how they can, because there's nowhere in the Bible that mentions any of that, and in fact, the Bible itself.
Oh, actually, it mentions abortion. It mentions
that you can
drinking something to have an abortion.
But and then it also life. When you're talking about Genesis, is when he breathes the breath of life. Is when they take their first breath. Is when life occurs, according to the Bible. So they're just basing this off of their own ideals, or what people tell them is what the Bible or religion teaches them.
Like the people on the ground, they're the pawns on the ground fighting for this. The ones you see, life is precious. How would you abort a baby? Type shit. They're the pawns in the game.
And what I've seen a lot is again, I do dive into the comment sections a lot, and I've learned that so many fucking men have no fucking clue about basic women's anatomy.
They don't. I mean,
I was surprised to me. They're like,
that's another subreddit.
They're vehemently bad women's anatomy.
Yeah,
right. Oh, it's a favorite of mine. Even without not having uterus, it's still a fun subreddit to go to see the stupidity of men who have zero basic.
I'm in like fucking 20 of those groups on my Facebook.
But they're making comments like, "Oh, they should know by 6 weeks. They should know. They should." I'm like, "The fuck are you talking about? Like, you don't know. You don't. First off, you don't have your uterus. Shut the fuck up and sit down."
They don't care either.
So I knew by 4 weeks that I was pregnant.
Whoa!
I am a rarity. Like it just doesn't really happen.
Because that's like 4 weeks is like cycles, right? And that like when your cycle typically occurs.
Yeah,
How
right.
did you know at that point, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't fucking know. I know from the day of conception, like, I guess, well, no, that first period I got was about 4 weeks after. Like, it had to be less than that. But immediately with that period, I knew, and I tested positive at 4 weeks.
But that's an outlier. You're definitely an outlier. Texas estimates 85% of all.
It doesn't happen. Everybody, when like we were looking, even the doctor looking at my date was like surprised because, like, everything they did the ultrasound, they're like, "This is the date of conception." They're like, "Yeah, you were 4 weeks when you first came in, or whatever, or when you because it was about a week before I got the appointment, so I would have been about 4 weeks."
The most depressing thing is all these other men who are commenting that women should know, like, don't understand that 4 weeks is basically the time frame for a period, and 2 weeks past it is 2 weeks past a missed period. Stress can bring that shit on. Mm-hmm. Anxiety can delay that.
The people who write these laws know this.
I knew, like, I had sore breasts and everything really
It's not
early.
by accident that it's at this time.
Yeah,
they specifically were like, what is the earliest we can do this? They sat down in a room and they figured, how can we trick, like, they knew,
well, they started
no one's going to know by 6, let's aim for that.
They started this shit a year or two ago.
Yeah, with heartbeat
with
bills.
Anticipation of the Supreme Court being fully Republican. They knew they started it with a plan. They knew it'd have to go to the Supreme Court, and they knew they could count on this.
I think this particular bill was, as soon as Amy Coney Barrett was confirmed or even nominated, I bet they started drafting that shit that fucking day. Mm-hmm. And they were fucking clever about it. I'm not going to lie. That is a very clever bill. As heinous as it is, it's very clever in how it skirts the Supreme Court's ability to intervene because it's not enforceable or punishable by law. It's citizens that can enforce it, and that's what makes it very different. It was very clever, heinous, fucked up, and unethical, but they put they came together on this, and with the Supreme Court, balking on it, they can take action on it maybe later, maybe with this particular lawsuit that the Justice Department has brought, may reintroduce it to the Supreme Court. I'm hoping that's the case, but I can't trust this. We obviously already know we can't trust the Supreme Court to do the right thing. So, I may have some hope in this, but if it doesn't, if it's not it's District Court of DC, I'm not sure which district that is. If they can decide on it before it gets to the Supreme Court, then maybe there's hope. But if it has to go to the Supreme Court, I have zero hope in this going forward.
What's going to happen? What's happening is Underground Railroad type situations are being formed. I know for a fact that these are already being organized to get women out of Texas to go take vacations, quotes around that.
But a 16-year-old's not going to be able to do that. A 16-year-old's going to be pressured.
No.
They're going to be pressured into doing it. The most vulnerable are not going to be able to have access to that. They're also going to be around.
Well, that's partly what the Underground Railroad is for, though. Is one of the goals is to try to reach the lower income. We can't get the minors. We can't. It's a lot harder to get a minor across state lines. But if somebody is referred to a group that is running one of these underground railroads,
we didn't even talk about the fucking bounty hunters.
They don't have the funds for an abortion or to get out of the state. I can guarantee you those funds will be raised quickly to make sure that women get abortions.
Some other things going on with Texas. Didn't GoDaddy, which is the host of that website.
Yeah, they took it down.
Did they take it down?
Yeah.
Do we know if they've tried to find other hosting for that, or
do what?
Do we know if they've tried to find other hosting?
Oh, I'm sure they'll find another one, and we'll go after it too. And
my hope is that what happens in Texas is kind of what happened to Georgia shortly after their voter registration bills, and that a lot of entertainers. I hope they fucking plethora of entertainers, sports teams, like just.
Does Texas have as much entertainment shit as Georgia? Georgia is like a mini Hollywood. A lot of production is done there.
That's how they kept it from happening there.
Yeah, and so it may not have the same effect if just production. Now, sports may do it, but I don't I mean, the sports, I think, are going to more cater towards
Well, it's because they
the
get money
demographic
from
there.
the fucking government.
Right,
So.
right.
But I don't know. I think a lot of times when shit like this happens, when horrendous things like this happen, that the entertainment industry stops spending money there, and when states start losing money, then that's when they tend to do things.
Yeah, they'll lose a lot less money, and their principles, the Republican principles, which aren't very principled.
Isn't that ironic? Like the state that has the highest amount of executions is the one that claims to be the most pro-life.
Right.
That's ironic to me.
But yeah, so they're going to weigh their principles over the money, and the money is just not as great as other states. And they're going to say, well, it's worth it. Because Texas fucking sucks balls.
Can we just let them secede? Can we
I've been down for this for fucking 10 years. Just let them fucking go.
I mean, they've been trying already. They're trying to be independent with their energy grid anyways, which... Did you guys see that meme? The difference between the Taliban and the Texas? The Taliban at least have their electricity.
I saw one that was like, has anybody tried to unplug Texas and plug it back in again? And someone's like, yeah. We did that back in the last winter, and it didn't work.
It's depressing, but I mean the memes keep me happy. But it's such a sad situation for the young, the minors. You said, I mean, that's just awful. I mean, especially because there's no exceptions for rape or incest.
Rape and incest. That's
a big one
the
for minors.
worst part of it,
especially for minors.
Yes, because you're gonna have 13-year-olds who get pregnant for rape.
You're gonna have rapists who use this as a control tool.
Yeah.
On purpose. Like, if I want her, if I rape her and impregnate her, she is mine forever.
Yep.
Like, that is, in Texas, that is the plan. That's what you do.
And the
law's on your side as a rapist.
I guarantee you more women will be punished under this law than rapists have ever been punished in
Now, I'm going to remind Texas of their loose gun laws. If you are a woman in Texas, murder your rapist, and you will get off a lot less easy on the murder charge than you will on the rapist charge. Fuck it. Just shoot your children. You can get off on that a lot easier than you can on an abortion. Literally. That's not even a joke. That's not even a joke. You could, as a woman, shoot your children and have less of a consequence than getting an abortion.
I don't know if that's true, Sam.
That may be a stretch, but the rapist, absolutely.
I mean, I get your point and how horrendous, what Texas is doing to
but $10,000 versus years in prison.
Their gun laws are pretty loose.
Killing your children.
Well, so how Texas actually worded it is that they can't actually sue the patient. It's the clinic and whoever drives them there, whoever gives them money for it. It's anyone else but the patient. But anyone can sue.
But even if they're out of state, the people out of state, can they be sued?
So I don't know the nuance of traveling out, but I think I'm not sure how it's enforced because it's. I don't know if Texas citizens can sue Louisiana.
Yeah. So if
clinics.
I drove down to Texas and say I made my new job, going down to pick up women who need an abortion and take them to whatever state they need it to be. They can't sue me because I'm not a Texas citizen, so their laws do not apply to me.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm not entirely sure because I'm not a lawyer, but I doubt it. I doubt it because it's a civil action sort of thing, and I don't think any other state would recognize that law being valid in their state. So I would probably doubt that. No. I'd say no because they can. I read an article. They can drive to like Colorado, but it's such a long drive. Like. These people, the poor, they don't have the funds or the availability to do so. It's like we said, it's a war on the poor. It's a war on poverty. It's a war on, and just like Sam said, creating more Republicans. Oddly enough, even though they've got to hate this bill.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this is ACAB of the week.
All right, so our ACAB of the week this week, it's dealing with the Columbus, Ohio Police Department. They're the ones who killed the 16-year-old Micaiah Bryant earlier this year.
Is it the one by the gate?
She's the one who had the knife.
Oh, that's right, by the car.
Right.
Okay.
She launched after the girl. Well, so Columbus has had numerous police killings over the years. So the city requested the U.S. Justice Department to review the practices of the police department. There were a few good quotes in this one. One of them is, "This is not about one particular officer, policy, or incident," Columbus Mayor Andrew Ginther said in a statement. "Rather, this is about reforming the entire institution of policing in Columbus." It says, unlike other cities under Justice Department review, which is often unwanted, Columbus requested the federal involvement. It was Ginther and the city attorney, Zach Klein, asked the government to interview in April, days after the officers killed Micaiah Bryant. Yeah, they're pretty much saying that there's resistance within the force to change, and that's part of the reason why they brought in the Justice Department. Of course, the entire city council there is Democrat.
Are they the ones that voted to involve the enforcement?
Yes.
Okay. To request the Justice Department.
Right. So they, in the last year or so, they've gotten a civilian police review board up. They've been trying to make many changes to the police department, but the police department, once again, and the police union, neither of those are probably mostly Democrat. So they've been fighting and trying to avoid changing, and so that's why the Justice Department has been brought in.
So I just want to cover here is more recently. So there's the most recent cases, because this is the country's 14th largest city, and they've recorded a number of contested police shootings. The most recent is on April 12th, the killing of 27-year-old Miles Jackson in an emergency room, and 47-year-old Andre Hill. The white officer who fatally shot Hill pleaded not guilty to a number of charges. I guess that case is still ongoing. This is not the only city that obviously has issues with this. I know the Colorado, what was that department in Colorado that had that issue? Was it the Heartland PD department?
I do not recall.
That we had at ACAB a few weeks ago. But it's not just that. I think by and large, it's not just police shootings. A story that I had bypassed, we had to bypass because we didn't have enough time for, and it's kind of making its rounds again, is that a lot of reviews going on right now is a number of hospitalizations being brought on, unnecessary hospitalizations from police actions. A large number of hospitalizations just because of the sheer brute force and brutality during the arrest that send people who, there's studies on this, and the number of reports is several 100,000 cases.
What the percentage per interaction is?
I don't know, but it's such a large amount that of just people being apprehended, and during the course of being apprehended are beaten, kicked, hit, because
it's a good job for a sadist.
Yeah, and so they end up hospitalized. This is just not just shootings. These are just outside of the shootings. This is on top of all the shootings that occurred that Al mentioned in Columbus and other various cities. But these people are being beaten, legs broken, faces broken, cut up, mace in faces. We talked about the officer who was complying in his vehicle. They sprayed mace into his vehicle, hit his dog, things like that. It's just all this unnecessary use of force. And there's just not enough being done across the United States to combat that.
No.
And I don't know where to go next or what to, besides, I know we talking about abolish.
The thing is, that's an issue of police brutality, and that's what a lot of this reform stuff that everybody's fighting for. If you cut down police brutality, you're not going to have as many people in the hospital. That's what's causing people to go into the hospital. So, the killings are what make people, stop everything. And it's okay, we need to look at this. But we do need to look at all those, the people who how many people at Knox County end up in the hospital before they go to the jail?
Right.
We don't hear about those.
Because they don't make a lot of noise with that, because, because the police are so shit in the U.S., there's just shootings all the time where police killed him. But what is missed by and large is the many people who are just beat senselessly and hospitalized.
Right. And
short of having a zero tolerance policy, but the problem is that the police back each other fucking up, and they always in almost every case, the officers acted accordingly, is what we always hear.
Yep.
And I don't know how to fix that.
Well, I mean, the civilian review boards are essential in that. That's why so many cities are pushing for it. That's why we have one here in Knoxville. That's why Columbus got one.
Because are they effective though?
And Nashville has had a lot of luck with theirs. The city kind of has to pay attention to it because the city brought the community. They're part of the city. So the city is paying attention to what these people say. So if the police are over here saying, "Oh, there's been nothing wrong done," and so on those files, they're supposed to hand those files completely over to the community review board, who gets to look at. I believe they actually report to city council most of the time. So I don't know the full steps, but I know if a city says the police say this was a justified murder, and the community review board says no, they're going to release that information. But
it's still up to the DA to press charge.
It is, but you know what helps the DA make the decision to do that? Fucking outrage in the streets.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
And once the community review board releases theirs and says we disagree with this decision because of X, Y, Z, and they provide the proof needed for those things.
Do we know if those they have the ability to release those things publicly?
I believe they at least have the ability to say it in front of they report to city council a lot of time. So once I know here in Knoxville even that's public record. Once it gets into public record, anybody can post it.
But we all know that video and seeing these things is a major driving factor, and if that could be released, the things that they tend to hide and they keep this sweep under the rug, if those review boards can have access to that and review that publicly, that would have more pressure, I think, than just their words in a board meeting.
When we look at the video footage, think of Knox County with Ant. They were saying they were not going to release that video. We raised fucking hell every goddamn night. We were in the streets blocking traffic and doing everything we could to express our outrage over that. And sure enough, fucking that cunt Eve Thomas released the video footage.
The video came out, but nothing really happened.
Yeah, no, it didn't. But
because you can see how they spun it. This is how they spin it.
She made a point to say that it was because of us protesting and our outrage,
but still nothing
that
came
made
out
her
of it
do
coming
it.
out even.
No, and I mean,
there's been no justice in that case.
No, and I don't know if we will because the video doesn't show enough, and
that's because 3 of the 4 body cameras failed.
Yep.
Failed, quote.
Yeah, one of them fell off.
Knoxville is full of the worst people in the fucking world, and they don't give a fuck.
KPD and Knox County Sheriff's Department
are
fucking corrupt as shit. They're horrible. We are starting to... I don't know if our community review board has even looked at the Ant case yet. I don't know how that's all working out, if it's like one of the cases they're coming up to. I haven't heard anything.
I'm sure they're trying to avoid it.
I don't know. Our community review board is not bad.
Why? Well, they don't get anything done either, so they're also useless.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's new.
Okay.
So, it's not something that we've had for years and years. It's pretty new. So they're working, they're learning. I know I talked to, when all this stuff was going on with Ant, I talked to somebody who's on the community review board in Nashville. And we were discussing the fact that Knoxville is new, and he was telling me all the growing pains they had and the ways that they had to learn. And so we're in the baby stages of ours, and I hope over time that it becomes a tool that is efficient for our community. As of right now, no, it's not fully what we need, but...
Well, I think every fucking major city needs one because I don't have the stats because this is an old story. It's one I wanted to cover, but as we know, a lot of times the ACAB, sometimes they take precedence when we've had so many stories. And earlier this year, we had a lot of fucking stories. And there's one I wanted to cover because it listed the stats on the number of hospitalizations from, and not just shootings, again, just the hospitalizations only from, is a fucking high number because of the brutality, the sheer brutality. And they are always deemed appropriate because they don't have these boards that, have oversight over and access to what we don't. And I think everyone fucking needs them to maybe prevent people who are, whether they're actually committing that crime or not, because, again, innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, they're just apprehending them to have their day in court, but they're making a hospital visit fucking first.
Your dog is molesting our producer, and it's a real distraction.
This is nothing new.
It's like straight up molesting. I'm bothered by this.
Yeah, so the producer has a lot of cats, got scratched. Dog likes to lick wounds, so that's what we get for recording live with animals. At least we don't have the cats knocking shit down anymore. That was fun.
The cats didn't distract me. Tino distracts me.
He also sits right here in between us.
He likes
chewing that bone right loudly. I'm surprised the mics don't pick him up when he's sitting there just... So
I bitch about him chewing this bone next to me. It's the bone that I bring every week.
And I loathe the day that you forget to bring one because, they know the minute you walk through the door. I bring them every time we record. Sometimes when I come over at other days that I don't always bring them. But Soko placed himself as soon as I came in. He met me at the door and then immediately ran over to his place. He's like, I know I'm supposed to be here before I get my treat. The day you forget is just going to be the most... I need to get a backup supply just in case you don't because they're so well trained. We're 31 weeks in and they're...
so well trained.
Yeah. To get treats. Outside of that, they're fucking menaces. Except for this little one. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up, guys, for episode 31 of Apostates on the Fringe. As always, you can check us out on social media. If you want links to the articles or to contact the show, visit us at apostatepod.com, and we will see you all next week.
Fuck Nurse Debbie.
Go Papa Biden.
I'm going to go on WBIR and read this shit.
Thank you all very much.
Apostates on the Fringe. Apostates on the Fringe.
The views and opinions of the hosts of Apostates on the Fringe do not represent the views and opinions of the Atheist Society of Knoxville. For links to all our musical contributors, go to apostatepod.com and check the About Us page. A big thank you to Michael Scott Arden, who allows the show to use his full catalog.